Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to dress up sandwiches. Sandwiches are something we all love because they're fast and simple. So we want to keep it that way, but we want to step out of our comfort zone. If you're anything like me, you grew up on sandwiches. A little meat, a little cheese, mayo, mustard. Improving at cooking is all about broadening our perspective. So let's dress up our sandwich game. Let's get our go-juice and get into it. Now that we've got our go-juice, let's get started. Okay, first things first. We're gonna start by chopping up some basil. I'm not gonna give you a quantity, just however much you need to cover an entire sandwich. Next, we're gonna slice up some tomato into 1/4-inch pieces and slice those in half. This will allow us to fully cover the sandwich and get a nice good bite of juicy tomato in every bite. We're gonna need some bread. If you have a nice sourdough or artisan bread, or you made your own, that's awesome. It's gonna be delicious. However, if you have some store-bought bread, that'll work just fine as well. You want a bread that has a nice structure, a little bit of toughness to it so that it's not going to immediately go soggy once we add balsamic to it. I'm just gonna cut this bread into about 1/3 to a 1/2-inch slice. If you've always thought about making your own bread, but have never wanted to get into it because it's too time-consuming or complicated, check out my other video, linked up here somewhere. Our last ingredient in the simple version is cheese. Here, I'm using a mozzarella roughly cut into larger chunks. I'm also gonna throw in some thinly sliced Parmesan for some extra flavor. For the cheese, you don't need anything super special here. Use whatever you have on hand. I will say layering a few different flavors and types of cheeses is gonna build out a more complex flavor to our simple sandwich. We're gonna need a little bit of balsamic vinegar. For the final version of the caprese sandwich, we're gonna be using some pesto that I made up yesterday. I'll put the recipe down in the description if you'd like to check it out. Now let's assemble our caprese sandwiches. For all of these sandwiches, we're gonna build the basic sandwich, pop it into the oven. After it comes out, we're gonna dress it up with some basil and balsamic. For our first sandwich, we're gonna take our slice of bread, add a little bit of Parmesan, tomato to cover, and mozzarella in every bite. For our second sandwich, we're gonna start it out exactly the same way with our slice of bread, Parmesan, mozzarella, and tomato. And then we'll fancy it up after it comes out of the oven. For our third sandwich, we're gonna start with our slice of bread and add a little bit of pesto that we can spread out to every edge. After that, we're gonna repeat the same thing of adding our Parmesan, tomato, and mozzarella. We're gonna take our prep sandwiches, add them to our wire rack with a little bit of parchment paper, or if you have a baking sheet, you can also use that. For me, I just find that the wire rack gives me a little bit of a crispier crust on the bottom because it allows some airflow to get into the bread. We're gonna preheat our oven to 250 degrees Celsius or 480 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna pop our sandwiches into the oven on the highest rack available. If you have a broiler available, you can also use that. These sandwiches look delicious. A little bit of brown cheese on top, perfect. For the first version, we're gonna top with a little bit of fresh basil. For the second, we're gonna add a drizzle of balsamic vinegar. And for the third, we're also going to add a little bit of basil. And there you go, 3 different kinds of caprese sandwiches. Honestly, I didn't know exactly how these sandwiches were gonna turn out, but they turned out great. Both my wife and I loved the one with the balsamic. So, for you at home, try the one with the balsamic. It's simpler than making your own pesto, and it's even better. That's it for this video. I hope you give it a try, or at least try dressing up your own fancy sandwich. Until next time, thanks for watching.